or not, it's a discussion about carnivore diets or vegan diets. I mean, I look at the debates around that and I just have to chuckle mostly about the way that debates are playing out because it's so theatrical, like Liver King on the one hand and then these like dweeby vegan scientists, many of whom, I'm not talking about Stanford colleagues, of course, but others that are just like so combative in different spheres, and there's no solution to come from that.
Yeah, the Liver King thing drives me nuts because that guy's on steroids.
Well,
just shut the fuck up.
Well, so
I know he's eating really healthy. It's clear he's eating all these animal foods and, you know, he's eating organ meat, which is very rich in nutrients. All that's true, but he's dodging the main bullet.
Well, it's too late for him now because he said no.
Yeah.
So if he is even on TRT, he should come out and just say it.
Well, look at him.
Because, yeah, I mean.
Just, do you know how rare it is to have a physique like that and not be on steroids? You would have to be in the 0.1% of the human population. Just the rare genetic freaks. I mean, I don't care how much you lift weights. Like, that is a freak physique. Like, pull up a photo of that dude.
Well, one of his main assertions, and others have made this assertion, is that when you eat an organ like a testicle or a liver, that the nutrients in that organ are specifically channeled to the organ that it would most benefit from.
Is that real?
I mean,
is that true? Is
I mean, that might
fact?
be. That looks like. I mean, if I were to just put that through my knowledge of hormones and biology, and I would say TRT.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, the photo. But I'm saying what you just said.
Oh, so the direct, no, so there's no evidence that I am aware of that if you eat, say, liver, that the nutrients are specifically directed towards your liver.
Right.
There's no evidence.
No evidence.
There's some old studies using radioactive labeling of organs, having animals ingest those organs and then slicing up the brain and body and looking. And there was some small but interesting specific diversion of brain to brain. But in my opinion, if you're eating brain and it's diverted to your brain, that's actually a concern, not a benefit because of prions.
You did prions, yeah.
So I'll go on record saying, to my knowledge, there's no evidence that eating testicles, for instance, supports your testicles because it's directed to the testicles. Now, there may be some bioactive hormones in there that go and support testicular function in some other way. But when things are brought into the gut, they're broken down into their component parts and they go out into the bloodstream. And then which organ gets that stuff depends on whether or not there's, say, a blood-brain barrier, which keeps a lot of stuff out of the brain, or a blood-testes barrier, or a blood-ovary barrier. Every organ, like the spleen, et cetera, has a barrier. So some things get in more readily than others. But to my knowledge, zero evidence that eating spleen helps your spleen.
Right. So, but why do people say these things? Is this like old wives' tales? Is this, or is it just bro science?
Well, I think it's because that there are nutrients, for instance, in liver, like very high concentrations of choline, precursor to acetylcholine. It is true that liver is one of the most choline-dense foods in the world, far more than an egg, far more than any vegetable or nut is going to give you. And now I'm sure some celery warrior will come after me about
celery warrior,
something like that. You know, at the moment,
celery king,
as you know better than I, the moment you say one thing categorically, you know, you're kind of inviting it. But I've kind of learned to enjoy that response. I learned from it, and correct me if I'm wrong. But liver incredibly high in choline, so you could see how the lore would emerge that eating liver is really good for you, because it is, if you're interested in getting a lot of choline and vitamin D or vitamin A and other things of that sort. But the idea that it would be diverted specifically to your liver, that seems kind of crazy. Now, there's also this idea, I won't name names here, but there were people on social media for a while saying, well, walnuts are really good for your brain because walnuts actually look like a brain. And that's why, and you know, testicles look a lot like testicles too. But the point is that walnuts have certain things in them that are good for lots of cells, not just for brain tissue.
But they have healthy fats, right?
Definitely. Walnuts. I love walnuts,
So
especially
walnuts.
the red walnuts are amazing. My girlfriend's obsessed with all this like hard to find, like old-fashioned food, like red walnuts, and
I don't even know what a red walnut is.
They're red. The skin on the walnut is red. The nut isn't red, but the skin on them is delicious.
I don't think the skin.
Yeah,
the skin
outer. Yeah, you know, like
so once you crack them.
Yeah, once you crack them.
So does it look brown in the
Oh, they're so good.
Okay,
and it looks like a brain.
Okay, I have seen those before.
Right. They're delicious.
But I was thinking the outside shell was red. No, I was confused.
No, they're delicious, and whether or not they're better for you than standard walnuts, I don't know.
Walnuts are good for you.
Walnuts are great for you. I mean, you know, they're calorie dense, but they're great for